Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Soul Spark Reaction channel where we talk about religion, philosophy, spirituality, and much, much more. Today's topic is called Monk Explains Truth of Free Will and Is It Possible to Change Your Destiny? And this is by Swami Sarva Priyananda. And I'm pretty sure I got that pronunciation correct. Let's go.
Better you than me.
How much is really in our control? Like the concept, and many people are asking this not only in our comments, but you see this all over social media, all over the internet. People are asking the concept of free will.
That always comes up in spiritual discussions.
I like this guy.
But I'll give you a common sense answer, which our monks would always give in reply to such questions. We don't ask such questions when it comes to the matters of the world. And if I really want something, I go out and buy it or I order it on Amazon or something like that. I don't sit around thinking, do I have the free will to order this or not? No.
That is actually really brilliant. Why are you contemplating a question that may not have a human answer? You know what I mean?
So
Why do you
when I,
think that is? I don't know.
when I was younger, not that much younger, I used to contemplate this. So let me answer you why.
Tell me.
Because when you're in a situation in life, be it good or bad, in this case I was in a not so good place at the time, you wonder if you're just destined to fail.
Oh,
So it's like if it's out of your hands, why waste your energy trying? Because why waste your energy trying? I say this because at that time in my life, I was just trying extra hard to succeed, and everything, no matter what, would just backfire. Like freakish things would happen, like freak accidents. So it's almost like no matter what I did, it wouldn't work.
so you were looking. So what it sounds like you're saying is because things were going bad, you were looking for a reason to say it's not your fault. That's what I heard from that. Think about that for a second.
Possibly, but these things were totally out of my hands. It's not based off of anything I could have
Control.
physically done.
Yeah.
Like think natural disaster out of your hands type of thing.
I've been there after.
So
Well, you know what? I've had those situations in life, but by this time I was older, and I'm like, this is happening for a reason. Now I don't know what the reason is, but I'm just going to weather the storm. I never really wondered about will versus free will. I knew it was a topic that people asked. I just never understood why somebody would ask that question because it seemed unanswerable to me.
yeah, I'll give you one more example, then we can go back to this.
Hmm.
So will versus free will, not in the destiny sense, but will versus free will
Yeah.
now, right? If I promise something, like if I promise you I'm going to do this, or I promise to whatever, if I promise, I can never break my promise. No matter what, I've tried to break promises. I literally can't. If I say I promise,
I would call that integrity.
yeah, but I mean, you can have integrity, but still have the willpower to break it. It's not like I have willpower, like I literally can't break it for some reason. I don't understand that. It's like some weird thing in me that's just can't do it. It's not like, oh, I think something bad's gonna happen if I break it. I just can't go
So
against my
you're saying you don't have the will to go against something you said in the past.
not so much what I said. I have the willpower, but if I promise something, like I give my word to something, it's different. Yes, I will have the will. If I don't give my word to it, I'll backpedal and get around if I have to, but I can't otherwise.
Now, let's see what else he has to say.
It only when it comes to spirituality, we drag our feet and say, oh, how much free will do I have in this case? But it's a deep question, regardless. So the first answer is a practical answer. Go ahead, jump into it, start working at it. So, engage yourself in service, engage yourself in devotion, devotional practices, study the scriptures, listen to lectures, if you will, on YouTube, whatever you do. And um, give it a good try. So that is at least, at the very least, it's a demonstration of our desire that I really want God.
You did.
But now, if you
Yes.
take it to a philosophical level and ask how much free will do we have, according to Vedanta, we actually do not. It's an interesting perspective. Swami Vivekananda said, free will is a contradiction in terms. The moment you say will is something exercised by the mind, by the person. I am exercising will. Already I am in the chain of causation. Some cause produces an effect becomes a cause, in turn produces another effect. So if I have the will, suppose I have the will to raise my hand right now. And I
Yes.
did it. Okay,
Yes.
so I did it. You did it too.
Same. Yep.
Did we exercise our free will? It seems so. I want to raise my hand, I raised it. But that wanting to raise the hand, it's a thought. Where did that come from? It could have just been, I don't want to raise my hand.
This is what I'm saying. I believe that he's trying to answer this question, but as far as I know it, like this is one of these impossible questions to answer. And to answer this question, I believe, is to know the nature of God, which is above our ability to think. Therefore, it's impossible. That's what I think. I don't expect you to have a rebuttal to that. That's a pretty strong statement I just made.
Just leave it as that's what you
Yeah.
think.
Well, let's see. This is the educated man. Maybe he can correct me.
Do we have control over that thought? And if we control that thought, by controlling itself will be another thought. Where will that controlling thought come from? It's like you're standing in front of a deep well and you see bubbles coming up, but the depths from which the bubbles are coming up, we don't see it.
It's a good analogy.
So our thoughts are bubbling up from where we don't know. Therefore, it's all in a chain of causation. As Vivekananda said, free will is a contradiction in terms. And so, is there no freedom? Vedanta's answer is very interesting. It says, there is freedom, but no free will. Freedom as Atman, as pure consciousness, is your real nature, Atman, Brahman, you're free. That is freedom. Freedom from samsara. Freedom from limitation. Freedom to do what? Not to do. Even the idea to do something is also within limitation. When do I do something? And when I feel compelled to do something, when I want to do something, that means I'm already within the cause and effect link. It's not freedom. So freedom is only possible in the infinite, in the unlimited.
I'm gonna stop it for 1 second. For people that don't practice, I guess, Hindi,
Yeah.
they might not know what Atman even means.
Okay.
So I wanted to stop it just because what Atman means is basically your soul. For everybody that's not understanding what he's talking about there. So he's basically talking about your soul. You know, we have a soul in us, and that's what he's really talking about. So just to not confuse the people that are listening for the possible first time with this.
All right, awesome. But yeah, he's definitely talking about Hinduism here.
Freedom is possible in the unlimited. Freedom is possible in the non-dual, where there is no second reality. This is in a deeply philosophical, metaphysical sense. Practically, however, notice all our life is predicated upon the existence of free will. You go to a shop to buy something. Obviously, the whole thing is set up on the understanding that customers have free will. Even advertisements, which aims to influence our decision. That means advertisers are assuming that you have free will, and I'm trying to affect your free will to buy the product I want you to buy. Elections are going on in India now. All the idea of elections, vote for this or that, is predicated on the existence of free will. You are free to choose. Our entire legal system, courts and justice and all. Why do you punish a person if there is no freedom? If a person has freely done something wrong, then only you say this person deserves punishment. Why do you give awards and honors and all? Is freely done something heroic and worthwhile. And therefore, if a person has been forced to do something wrong, even a judge will take that into account. Reduced freedom of action. So the liability is also less. If somebody holds a gun to my head and makes me do something, then you cannot punish me for it because I did not act freely.
Right. Before this gets me more confused, because it sounds like he's arguing for and against himself, or I'm just not understanding it clearly.
Well, he's basically almost saying it's like Inception. So let me
Okay,
explain.
yeah.
It's like,
Okay.
all right, but people have not seen the movie. I don't really remember the whole entire movie. Basically, you go in a dream within another dream, etc. Right? So you had the free will, like you were saying earlier, lift up the arm, right? But your thought made you lift up the arm, like I want to lift the arm up right now. But
Right.
now your thought made you also lift up that.
And where is that coming from? And
And it keeps going down the rabbit hole. It's just like repeats. So it's like
what I was saying
it's
before,
an infinite loop.
right? And if it's infinite, we can't grasp that.
Yeah.
It's even if free will is an illusion inspired by God, there's no way to know, because ultimately, if you believe there's one ultimate source in a reality, a piece of light, in a different dimension that we call God that creates all reality, that's so far away from you that it's nice to know, but it can't affect your life.
But courts, election system, democracy, consumer choice, all of these assume free will. And religion, what we are talking about, assumes free will. Why give advice otherwise? If a person is not free to follow the advice, why would you give advice? So, free will is practical purposes. Free will is admitted. Now you might say this is contradictory. Ultimately, there is no free will, but practically there is free will. Well, yep, it's a contradiction.
Yeah. So I think what the last thing he said really put a bow on it for me, and I don't remember ever being more confused by a piece of information like this. But at the end, it made sense. Yes, it's a contradiction. Free will is practical in human terms. Yes, I lifted this arm, but ultimately there is no free will because, as you said, if you trace it all the way back, it's comes from the source is divine will. So if it's divine will, it isn't you.
Then it's destiny.
It's divine. Then it's destiny. But from a practical purposes on this end, let's say, we're pretty free, But we all know that we're not free, right? We have addictions. We have compulsions.
I've always had my own personal belief with going back and forth with this type of topic, and that it's a combination of both. That's just my personal belief. In that, let's say you're meant to marry a certain person.
Uh-huh.
Now, along the way, you go out with a different person, or you go down two different paths. Eventually, all the paths will eventually take you to marrying that person, regardless of whatever actions you do. That's my belief, so to speak. So you're destined to be with that person.
You're going to end up there anyway, no matter what road you take.
Now, the moralities and all you go through to get to that path might delay the time, but destiny is destiny-based.
I tend to agree with that. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, and leave us any videos that you want us to review. Till next time.